students. Today we are going to learn about heart structure as well as the function of our heart. Now we all know how many heart do we have? Sure? Yes. How big is our heart? Yes. Okay, our heart is located right in between the two lungs, right? In between the two lungs, and it is protected by a rib cage, okay? Because it's a very delicate organ. And what is the function of our heart in our body? Yes, it helps to pump the blood in our body. We know that blood is very important. It helps to carry the useful as well as the waste material in our body. So this has to be pumped throughout the body, and the function of pumping the blood is done by our heart. Okay, today we are going to learn about it, how heart looks and where it is situated and how our heart works, right? So as you said, our heart is well placed between the lungs, and because it's very delicate, it is protected by our rib cage. Now, can we imagine the size of our heart in our body? Yes, it's round about the size of our clenched fist. Okay, it's the size of our clenched fist. You can just imagine this big is your heart. Okay, and if you look at the structure, let me just show you through the module how it is. And is there any bone we see in our heart? No. It's a muscular organ. Yeah, it's the muscular organ situated in the center, but because it is between the lungs, slightly tilted towards our left. So we hear the throbbing of the heart little towards the left, right? And externally, our heart is protected by two membranes. Okay? Externally, our heart is protected by two membranes. It's forming a sac-like structure. This one, see, this is how our heart looks, right? Externally, it has two membranes, which is known as pericardium. The outer pericardium as well as inner pericardium. In between these pericardium, we have a fluid that is known as pericardial fluid. And what's the function of that? It helps in smooth functioning of the heart. It helps in closing and opening the chambers, contracting and relaxing the chambers of our heart. And also during the shocks, it can withstand the jerks. The heart faces the jerks. At times, some force comes onto the heart that can be balanced by the pericardial fluid, right? And then let's see. If you look externally, you will see the heart somewhat like this. These two, what we see right here, which are yellow in color, these are the upper chambers of the heart. Our heart has how many chambers? 4. Good. Our heart has 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers and lower 2 chambers. The upper 2 chambers, externally they look like this. Okay. These are known as auricles. And the lower 2 are known as ventricles, right? So your heart is made up of mainly of muscles known as special muscles, cardiac muscles. These are found only in the walls of our heart. So upper 2 auricles or atria also we call them. They are, according to their position, they are named. This one is right auricle, this is left auricle, right ventricle and left ventricle. There is a largest artery that is emerging out of the heart, this is known as aorta. Right? Now, let us see the internally how our heart
beats over a
looks.
lakh times a day and supplies blood to the trillions of cells in your body. Yes, it works like an extraordinary pump. Let's find out how the heart does this. The heart is a muscular organ roughly the size of a closed fist. It is located in the chest, between the lungs, and is protected by the rib cage.
It's not exactly at the midline of the body, that little
The
tilted
human
towards
heart
our
has four
left.
chambers. The left atrium, the right atrium, the left ventricle, and the right ventricle.
So internally we can see, externally you have already seen, but internally our heart has four chambers: right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. Right? This, apart from that, our heart also is not that all chambers are interconnected. They are separated. Okay? They are separated by a muscular membrane. This muscular membrane, can you see this structure? This is known as septum. Okay? Now let me show you by a diagram. Can we have one eco-friendly heart? Yes. Does it look like heart? Yes. Now, we have seen how many chambers are there in our heart? Four. And internally, this is somewhat like this. Okay? So, this muscular wall is known as septum. This is known as septum. And this is between the two auricles, we call it as interauricular septum. If it is between two ventricles, we call it as interventricular septum. And the one which is in between auricles and ventricles, this is known as auriculoventricular septum. So this presence of this septum, it will avoid the mixing of the blood between all the four chambers. Now flow of blood is in particular direction. It is not going in all round. Okay, it will follow a path. And these septums, apart from that, we also have valves present here. What is the function of a valve?
To push out blood, to stop the backflow of blood.
Exactly, very good. It prevents the backflow of the blood. The blood flows only in one direction. So here the blood will not go back, but it will follow one direction. Right? So this is the function of our heart. Let us continue with the module. Now, till now you know how many chambers are there in our heart? Four. What are the four chambers? Very good. So what prevents the backflow of the blood in the heart? Valves. What is that? Valves. Right? So
Do you
this,
know that your heart beats over a lakh times a day and supplies blood to the trillions of cells in your body? Yes, it works like an extraordinary pump. Let's find out how the heart does this. The heart is a muscular organ roughly the size of a closed fist. It is located in the chest, between the lungs, and is protected by the rib cage.
this one you have already known. Now let's continue with this.
The human heart has four chambers.
Can you
The
recognize
left
now?
atrium, the
Yes.
right atrium, the left ventricle, and the right ventricle. There is a partition between the left and the right chambers of
What
the
do we
heart.
call it?
which prevents the carbon dioxide-rich blood on the right from mixing with the oxygen-rich blood on the left. The major blood vessels connected to the heart are the aorta, pulmonary veins, pulmonary arteries, and superior and inferior
vena cava. Now, it is the main artery that takes the oxygenated blood from the left ventricle to all over parts of our body. Okay, so that one is taken up by the aorta. Aorta is the largest artery. It carries the oxygenated blood from the heart to all the parts of our body, right? Now, coming to the pulmonary artery, these are exceptional artery you have learnt in the blood vessels. Which blood do they carry? Arteries carry oxygenated, but pulmonary arteries carries deoxygenated blood. Okay, they carry it from the heart to the lungs, whereas pulmonary veins carry oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. So you will find that half of our heart has deoxygenated blood, whereas the left part of the heart has oxygenated blood. Is that clear? So now coming to the inferior and superior vena cava. Inferior vena cava is a vein, is one of the largest vein that collects deoxygenated blood from our lower end of our body. Okay, so the posterior end of part of our body, the deoxygenated blood is collected by inferior vena cava and it opens into our right atrium. Similarly, the superior vena cava collects the blood from the anterior part of our body, that is above the shoulder. From the head region it is taking and it is opening into our right auricle. So here deoxygenated blood is brought from all the parts of our body into the right auricle. From the right auricle it opens into the right ventricle. But there is a valve and this valve is known as tricuspid valve. This will not take the blood back to the heart. It prevents it. It avoids it. So now the blood is coming from right atrium into the right ventricle, and from the right ventricle it is taken to the lungs by pulmonary arteries. Now the carbon dioxide rich blood is released of the carbon dioxide. Now what is getting into the blood now? If you release the carbon dioxide, oxygen is taken up by the blood, and this is happening where? In our which part of the body? Lungs. Lungs, it is that we'll breathe by our lungs. So lungs, from the lungs the oxygen is taken up. Now this blood has become oxygen rich blood, which is brought back to the heart by the pulmonary veins. They bring back the oxygenated blood to the heart by pulmonary veins. It opens into our left atrium. From the left atrium, again it opens into the, flows down into our left ventricle. And to prevent the backflow, again there is a valve here. This is known as bicuspid valve. Now from here, the blood is entering into the aorta. Now this oxygenated blood is going into the, is distributed to the all parts of our body. Here aorta is getting divided into arteries, and this arteries take the blood to the arterioles, and that is how it enters into our body tissues and cells, where oxygenated blood is supplied and deoxygenated blood is now collected from these both, inferior and superior, and this is how the blood is circulated in our body. So inside the heart, you now know about two valves. What are they? Tricuspid and bicuspid. apart from this, you have already told me there are 4 valves. Where are the 2 more valves?
In pulmonary arteries.
Yes, one is in pulmonary artery and one is in aorta. Okay, the valve which is present in aorta is semilunar aortic valve, and the valve that is present in the pulmonary artery, that is carrying the blood to the lungs, it is semilunar pulmonary valve. Is that clear? So 4 chambers you know today, 4 valves you know today. Any doubt so far? No. Now let us learn about the circulation of blood. The process of distribution or movement of the blood to the various part of our body from the heart and back to the heart. This is in continuous flow. This continuous flow of the blood in our body is known as blood circulation. Is that clear? Okay. Now we have the circulation of blood in human body is double circulation. Right? What it is? Double circulation. Once the blood is going from heart to the lungs, then coming from lungs back to the heart. This is known as pulmonary circulation of blood. Second is from the heart the blood is distributed to the body, and from the body the heart it is going back to the heart. This is known as system circulation. Okay, one is pulmonary, one is systemic, okay, which is going to the system. Let's continue with the module.
Veena
It's not Veena Cava, it is Veena.
You can also see
Cava.
that there are 4 valves in the heart. These valves prevent the backflow of the blood, ensuring that the blood flows in the right direction. So what's the direction of blood flow? Let's find out. Superior and inferior vena cava bring carbon dioxide rich blood from all parts of the body to the right atrium.
From here, blood will go into our, come on, from right atrium it should go into our
Right atrium contracts and sends this blood to the right ventricle.
And from here, which arteries are these? Yes.
The right ventricle then contracts and pumps the blood into the pulmonary arteries, which carry this carbon dioxide rich blood to the lungs. The lungs enrich the blood with oxygen. From the lungs, the pulmonary veins carry the oxygen rich blood to the left atrium. The left atrium contracts and sends this blood to the left ventricle.
Now children, when the heart is pumping it, you must have seen it contracting and relaxing. This contraction of the chambers of the heart is known as systole, and the relaxation of the heart chambers are known as diastole. Got the difference?
Yes.
Contraction of the heart chambers is called systole and relaxation of the heart chamber is known as diastole. Okay, this is also to be considered.
The left ventricle then contracts and pumps the blood into the aorta, which carries this oxygen-rich blood to all parts of the body. When the right atrium relaxes, carbon dioxide-rich blood again flows into it from all parts of the body.
This is how circulation of blood is going on.
The contraction and relaxation of the heart muscles give rise to the heartbeat. This cycle continues and the heart beats for years.
And there is a tissue which triggers the heartbeat, that is known as pacemaker. Okay? Now let us do some exercise. Let me see.
Now, let's look at the bigger picture of blood
This is the double
circulation in the
circulation
heart.
shown in our body.
You will
Here
see that blood circulates through the heart twice.
we see that blood is circulating from lungs to the heart and from heart to the lung. This is pulmonary circulation, and from heart to the body back to the heart, this is known as Systemic circulation.
That is, the heart has a double circulation, pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. In the pulmonary circulation, the blood travels from the heart to the lungs and back to the
So
heart.
nicely they are explaining it.
In the systemic circulation, the blood travels from the heart to the rest of the body and back to the heart. Now that we know how the
So
heart
let
works,
us do this
let's try
exercise.
labeling this model
Let us
of
do
the
the
heart.
exercise now.
Drag
Okay.
the correct labels to the parts of the heart.
Let us do. What is this? Sure? And this? Pulmonary artery or pulmonary veins? And these are exceptional arteries taking blood to our pulmonary arteries taking blood to our lungs. Next. Very good. What about this? Left atrium or right one? Left. Ventricle, no. This is left atrium. Next. What are these? Which prevent the backflow of the blood? Valves. What is this chamber called? Left ventricle. Right. Inferior or superior? Yes. Here you need to pay attention. This is superior vena cava. Next. Sure? Down one. Lovely. And next. Inferior vena cava. That's lovely. Shall we submit it?
Yes, ma'am.
How many marks do you expect?
Good job.
That's
That's
lovely.
a neatly labeled model of the heart.
That's lovely. Okay, children. That's all. Any doubts? No. Okay. Now take out your books and take down the homework for the day. Write today's date. Okay. Second one. Take it down and complete it. Okay? Thank you, class.